Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and I want to talk today a little bit about David Haye and Tony Bellew. Surprise, surprise, David Haye pulled out of another fight. I was kind of expecting it, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to be an unrelated random injury, but I thought the Achilles might be a factor again because I did think he was getting back into it a bit too quickly. So that's what I was expecting, but it's just something completely unrelated. It's just a comedy of errors, really, with David Haye. And surely this has got to be the end of his career now. I mean, the last two fights he's had, like he's pulled out of this one. He should have pulled out of the first fight against Tony Bellew. I think he would have done if it wasn't for the reputation that he had. He needed to maintain his credibility, really, to broadcasters, to promoters, to fellow fighters, to fans, to everyone, the whole boxing universe, really. He pulled out so many fights. People didn't really trust him. You could see when he came back after, when he fought against Mark Demori and the undefeated Cobra. He was on Dave because he couldn't get Sky Sports or Box Nation or anyone like that to back him. So, he really was there, like kind of last chance saloon. So he went ahead with the fight. He was clearly injured going into it. I mean, it wasn't just the fact that how obviously that injury became very severe during the fight, but he went to Germany like the week before to see some specialist. And you could see that his preparation was very, very poor. I mean, he came in overweight, too bulked up. But more than that, it was his timing was awful. His timing, no accuracy. He had very poor reflexes. He was slow, cumbersome. I mean, his punches, you could see him a mile off, especially for Tony Bellew, who just come up from cruiserweight, fighting against smaller people. David Haye coming in, literally just swinging wild punches, like he was having a punch up outside a kebab shop at 3 a.m. after about 10 pints. That's what he looked like. So it was nowhere near the David Haye we're used to seeing, with quick feet, head movement, do you know what I mean? Make you pay, very, very agile. Didn't really see any of that. Just him coming forward on the front foot, just swinging wild punches. So I give credit to Tony Bellew. I mean, you can only beat what's in front of you, and he did a good job of beating what's still a dangerous opponent, do you know what I mean? So I'm not taking anything away from Bellew, but it was clear from watching that David Haye was a shadow of his former self. Now, going into the next fight, I didn't really know. I was kind of thinking, well, the most likely is that Tony Bellew is going to win again because I just don't trust David Haye's body. I just think it's broken down. I just don't think he's the same fighter. I think he's going to have. I think his foot's going to still be injured. I thought he came back too quickly. I was just kind of sitting on the fence thinking, if for whatever reason David Haye can just turn back the clock and perform well, then he would beat Bellew. But I couldn't see it. I definitely can't see it if they do reschedule the fight. If they make it, they talk about May or something like that. I can't remember. If they make it for them, I definitely can't see David Haye winning. Now it's just a random injury as well. It's not even related. It's just, literally every injury you can think of, he's had it, David Haye. So for me, his career is pretty much over. Now, if they go ahead with the Tony Bellew fight, then good luck to him. I'm not really sure how much interest there's going to be in it. Basically, David Haye, for the first fight, everyone thought he was going to win. Although he sort of passed his best, there was interest in that. For this one, yeah, I suppose people were quite interested in it. But now, they're going to make it pay-per-view as well. Is anyone going to want to pay pay-per-view for? To be honest, David Haye, Tony Bellew in 2017, is that really a pay-per-view fight anyway? Especially in this instance, do you know what I mean? When all that's gone on, and you think David Haye's going to go in there pretty much in a wheelchair, to have the fight. So, yeah, I don't know. I think his career with everyone else is pretty much over. I can't see any other fighters really, unless they've got no other opportunities at all. I can't really see any serious fighter wanting to go into a training camp, invest money in sparring partners, live the life, sacrifice all they have to do, move away from their families, put in all that hard work, when you're fighting David Haye and you're thinking, 10 days to go, is he going to dislocate his shoulder shadow boxing or something? Do you know what I mean? So from a fighter's point of view, I think David Haye really is going to struggle to find opponents. From a broadcaster's point of view, I mean, there's so much talent now in Britain. There's so many people like doing stuff. Before, David Haye was a very big star. I mean, he was, before Anthony Joshua, he was like the biggest star in British boxing, really, wasn't he? When he was at his peak, he was the man. Now, that's not really the case. Yeah, he's still a big name, but I don't think they're going to want to invest time and money in him either. I think they're going to think, well, there's a good chance he's going to pull out. The fans have lost faith in him. So I don't really see them getting behind him in anything meaningful either. I think they may go ahead with this Bellew fight just out of loyalty, really, to Eddie Hearn and Tony Bellew more than anything else. If they want to make that fight and it's there, it's kind of already in place, I think they could do that. But in terms of against another opponent, I don't really see it. Boxing fans, I think, have completely lost faith in David Haye. I mean, they had done for a while, but now I think this is the final straw. Literally every time it seems every time he's in a training camp now, he injures himself. So no one's gonna buy tickets in advance. No one's gonna pay for hotels, etc. You're just not gonna trust that everything's gonna run smoothly with David Haye, and it's a shame. It is a shame because I was a fan of David Haye. I liked him. I know he was a bit of a cherry picker, and he had his pull-outs that we're talking about, and he certainly did take the piss on quite a few occasions, but he still gave us quite a lot of entertainment in the ring. He was a good fighter. He came to fight generally, Vladimir Klitschko fight excluded, but that was a good performance from Vladimir Klitschko, to be honest. I think he's bit off a bit more than he could chew in that. But anyway, aside from that, he generally gave a good performance. It was very entertaining in the ring, and at his best was very, very good. And also, he was competing at heavy. He was quite small, really, for a heavyweight when he first went up. So, I liked him. He's also very entertaining in press conferences. He's a good talker. He's a good character. So over the years, as a boxing fan, he's provided me with quite a lot of entertainment. So, I don't say it with any real pleasure. I'm not trying to have a go at the bloke, but for me, he's done now. I don't really see where he can go from this. I'm not really interested in them rescheduling the fight. If they do, I'll watch it. I certainly won't be paying pay-per-view to watch it, but it is what it is. Tony Bellew, I would prefer to see Tony Bellew fight against some other people, to be honest with you. Dylan White's called him out. That's a fight I'd much rather see him fight Dylan White than David Haye. In terms of making it now for December, I don't think that's going to happen. I was listening to Dave Coldwell yesterday, and he said that Tony Bellew, I'm not sure, some family member had died, so he had a bit of a kind of bereavement and that effect. So if that's the case, then obviously fair play to him. You can't expect him to, because he was going to go through with this anyway. But if now this has happened, then you just think, okay, well, we'll reschedule it for something else, and I can, focus on that, spend a bit of time with family. I'm certainly not going to have a go at him for that, if that's the case. But after that, I would much rather see him fight against Dylan White than or Joseph Parker. These are two, because he's not going to fight. I mean, it's all Tyson Fury called him out. He's not going to fight Tyson Fury. That would be, I've got about as much chance. No disrespect to Bellew, but I've got as much chance of beating Tyson Fury as Tony Bellew has, to be honest with you. He's not going to fight Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Again, I don't really blame him. I'm not particularly... I mean, I'd watch them, especially the Deontay Wilder fight. I think they're kind of interesting from a point, but I think, he's going to end up seriously hurt in that fight, to be honest with you, at some point. So I don't really think that's an option for him. I think Joseph Parker and David Haye are the only people, really, that he wants to fight at heavyweight. He's got himself into a bit of a pickle, really, Bellew, because he's gone up from cruiserweight, where he was a champion. He came up to heavyweight to fight David Haye. Now David Haye's out of the game. He may come back and think, but really he's out of the game. So now he's sort of stuck between the cruiserweight division. If he goes back down to the cruiserweight division now, some of these people they've got in there, like Usyk, Dorticus. I mean, there are others. Do you think that Tony Bellew wants to fight them? I doubt it, to be honest. Very, very hard fights. Not that much money in it. He's already been like the cruiserweight champ. He's gone up to heavyweight now. He's had quite a tough career, Tony Bellew, and he's taken on some tough fights. And he's had some good wins, made a lot of money. Is he really going to want to now, at this stage of his career, go back down to fight someone like that? I wouldn't fancy him against Usyk or Dorticus, to be honest with you, from what I've seen. No way. Then you've got a heavyweight. What's he really going to do at heavyweight? I think Joseph Parker, he sees as not so much the weak link, but someone who's a sort of similar size, at least, to him. Because Fury, Joshua, and Wilder are just, almost like super heavyweights. Like, physically, just a bit of a mismatch. Now, I don't think he can beat Joseph Parker either, to be honest with you. I think Joseph Parker, too big, too strong, too quick. Tony Bellew is a very skillful boxer. And he is underrated. I do think that he is better than a lot of people give him credit for. But I think against someone like Joseph Parker, I think Joseph Parker is very quick for a heavyweight. He's got quick hands, quick feet. You saw the way he sort of chased Hughie Fury around the ring. I mean, he can seriously get about. I think that Tony Bellew's got quite clever movement, good footwork, but I don't see him really being able to get away from Joseph Parker. I don't see him being able to, outwork him. Joseph Parker's got, quick combinations, he's got a good work rate, he's got a good engine. I mean, he sort of seemed to gas a little bit against Takam, but since then I've seen him. He's been, I've seen him on the back foot against Ruiz, 12 rounds fighting, good work rate. Hughie Fury on the front foot, same thing. And I don't see Joseph Parker being able to take. Tony Bellew being able to take the power of Joseph Parker either, especially not with those combinations. Now, I've seen Joseph Parker in the last few fights, and I haven't seen the same kind of power that people like Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder have, but he's still got a decent punch on him, and I can't see Tony Bellew being able to take it, and I can't see Tony Bellew putting a dent in him either. So I don't think that's a very good style matchup for him, to be honest with you. I think but I don't really see what advantage he has. You could say he's probably got a better ring IQ, but I just think he's going to outwork him and just be too strong, powerful, and pretty much a similar kind of speed in terms of. In fact, no. If anything, I'd probably say Parker was a bit quicker, even though he is naturally quite a bit heavier. He's very quick for his size. So I don't see that being really a fight that Bellew could win either, to be honest. I'd like to see it. I think it's not a mismatch. He's got a chance. I've underestimated him in the past, but it's definitely not a fight that I think that he would win. Dylan White he's called him out. That's a fight I'd very much like to see, but I can't see him taking that, to be honest with you. He's going to try and say, with Dylan White, he lost to this bloke, he lost to Anthony Joshua, it's not really what's in it for me. Well, what's in it for you is that you've now gone up to heavyweight. You're not going to fight Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury. They're like the number 2. David Haye is now out of the game. So, why not fight the next best man in the country, Dylan White, which really, after Fury and Joshua, I'd have him right now as a number 3. So, for me, as a boxing fan, particularly as a British boxing fan, it's a very, very credible opponent. And it makes perfect sense. It's much more appealing for me, anyway. I'll put in the comment section if you agree, than the David Haye fight. The David Haye, we watched the first fight. Yeah, it was quite entertaining, but most people think that David Haye is finished. You won it. I'd much rather see the Dylan White fight, and I think the build-up would be great. I think Dylan White would win, to be honest with you. I think he's bigger, stronger, tougher. I think they both got a good will to win. But I think Dylan White would be too much for him, to be honest with you. And he can box as well. He can box from range. And if they do get in close, I see Dylan White just roughing him up, body shots. I can't see Tony Bellew really winning that fight. I can't see him taking the fight, to be honest with you. So really, what is there for him to do? When I talk about the Andre Ward fight, but he's in a bit of a strange position, Tony Bellew. not a strange position, but a bit of a difficult position, because it looks like to me that he's kind of now in the heavyweight division, but he doesn't really want to fight anyone. So we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comment section what you think he's going to do, what you'd like to see him do. Personally, I'd like to see him fight Dillian Whyte next. That's the one which interests me the most. Joseph Parker as well, I'd be quite happy to see that fight too. That could make sense from Team Parker and Eddie Hearn as well, like build up, like Joseph Parker in the UK, get him fighting on Sky Sports, get a bit of all the press conferences and stuff, and get people knowing who he is. And that would be good for building up the Anthony Joshua fight as well. But yeah, anyway, I've spoken for this for long enough, so let me know what you lot think, and thank you very much for watching.